Hi guys, welcome back to my YouTube channel. Sorry I look kind of crummy today. I tried to put on a little makeup so I wouldn't look terrible. Um, I know it's been a little bit and I promised I would have something up before this, but I really honestly I've been sick like 3 times over already. And yeah, everything from the regular flu to a cold, and now the stomach flu just went around and I'm finally feeling a little bit better. So I thought I would record before something else traumatic happens. Hold on. Okay, so today we're going to talk about what is your why. Okay, I know this is kind of an awkward place to start. I know my first video on this was an introduction, and then this I thought was the second greatest topic because I believe that before you even make a business plan or anything for that matter, and don't get me wrong, I've already started the process of my whole, you know, but I think that you have to have some type of motivation behind what you are doing. And it was really weird because I think it was the last semester at school, my last semester, um, they put this thing up and I posted a picture of it, but at school, and it was like these white letters that somebody made like out of cardboard or something, and like we had to go and write on it like what our why is, and pretty much your why is your motivation behind why you're doing what you're doing. And I thought it was funny because when I first started like dentistry and I mean just life, I feel like people have the presumption that there's one motivation, and honestly, there's a lot. And I think that we tend to forget that. But when you realize that you do have more than just one, then it kind of helps motivate you even more. Okay, so not to go backtrack a little bit, but we're going to backtrack a little bit on my life and just what my why is and how. I mean, yes, I could tell you that it's my son. I could tell you that it's my mom. I could tell you that I mean, there's 100 million different reasons. You know what I mean? It could be because I love what I do. It could be because I want to do something bigger and greater in the world. And yes, those are all whys. And I think that's something that people tend to forget is that there's not just one why. There are multiple. Sorry, there's a dog right here, and I'm waiting for her to just jump off and bark, but she hasn't yet. So let's knock on some wood. Anyway, so that being stated, I guess, I think for me, I don't want to say my why began. What really got me motivated was when my son was born and when I got married, and I just knew that like the situation that we were in, I didn't want to be in anymore. And I didn't want it to be I it's not that we were living with, I mean, it's funny because I'm in the same situation, but we were living with my mother-in-law at the time. And it's not that, I mean, don't get me wrong, I'm forever grateful for being having a place to stay, having family to live with and stuff like that. But you come to a point where you're like, okay, we can't stay like this forever, you know? And although it's nice and generous and, love the family and stuff like that, you come to a point where you have to become you. You know what I mean? Where it's like, I want to have my own place. I want to have some place to raise my son that's not somebody else's, that's mine, you know? And I think that's what really kicked off the whole everything kind of thing. But yeah. Anyway, so that being said, I mean, situations changed. We moved from her place to my mom's place, and same thing. I mean, even though my mom's house was more like mine, it was still not. You know, it wasn't some place for me and my husband at the time to have our family. I don't know why, but it just wasn't like he didn't mix in there. I mixed in there fine because that's where I grew up. My son mixed in there fine because that's where he grew up. But I think it just having the family there in general was just not like the situation wouldn't work out. Same reason for why it wouldn't work out at his mom's house. So, that being said, I kind of, that was whenever I was finally at a point where I was like, we needed to change something. And that was when I got into dental assisting, um, by accident, actually. It was more along the lines of I was trying to get into a diving tech school. And in order to get in there, I knew there were certain things that they wouldn't pass me on physical. So I went to try and go and take care of those things. And that was all dental work, of course. And whenever I went there, to the dental office, it was like, boom, it was like my childhood history all came back, right? And so that was whenever, and then it was like, okay. And then when Ricky, my ex-husband, when he left, that really pushed me, because then it was like, I want my son, I want to create a life for him. And I knew then that I had to do something about it. You know what I mean? Like, I knew that I had to do something about it. Not him, not her, not my ex mother in law, not my mother, not anybody else. Said it was my responsibility, that I needed to do something for Lewis, so that I knew that, what come what may, if I end up, my mom passes away, or my ex in laws pass away, or nobody's there, like, I could provide for him. So that kind of became my why. But I didn't view it as that. I viewed it as, I'm doing this for my son. And it was successful. It really was, honestly. Once, I mean, literally, I went through like a 10-month dental assisting program. 7 of those months, I kind of flip flopped. I slept in the car sometimes whenever I didn't have my son. And when I did, I would rent a hotel room, or we would go stay at my friend's house, or we would be staying at my mom's house. But it was like, there was no for sure home. You know what I mean? I mean, there was, because I could always go back to my mom's home, but not where I was going to school. And like, it was ridiculous that I was trying to do that and everything all at once. Anyway, but it all ended up working out. And then I ended up actually getting a full-time job. And then I ended up in an apartment. Yeah. Anyway, so then, I mean, life happened again, custody court happened again, and all kinds of other things happened. And then I just made the decision that I knew that in order to do what was best for Lewis, I had to move. Does that make sense? So that was how I ended up down here. And when I made that change, that process, whatever you want to call it in life, and I ended up back here, I promised myself, I swore to myself, that if I ended up back down here, that I was going to do everything that anybody had ever told me no. So that's kind of where I'm at right now. Yeah. The dentistry thing just kind of happened to work out. I mean, there's other things in works that I'm working on right now. And then this business is kind of my first go-getter. And because of all the other things that I want to do that I know cost a lot, I know that I have to do this in order to make it for everything else. And I mean, again, now looking back on it, my son is not just my why. Like, there are so many different whys and avenues, and you know what I mean? Like, things that, oh no, she's gonna bark. No, pumpkin. There's just so many other things that I consider wise now. You know what I mean? And now I worry about my mom. I do worry about my son, of course. I want my own place because I want it for me. I want this business for me. I don't care what it takes, because I know that if I can push myself to do this in the long run, it will be better for so many people. It'll be better for doctors. It'll be better for patients. It'll be better for everyone. It's just a matter of getting my foot there and like pushing my way through. And if I can do all the other little things on the side, that will benefit so many other people and things as well, you know? And I know that I can do it. So I guess ultimately my why is for me. That's the biggest one. And it's for everything that I've ever dreamed and wanted to change. So that's where I'm going to start. And so when you think about what your why is, don't just think about one thing. Think about multiple things, because that's going to be power that's behind you. Think about your history. Think about your story. Think about where you want to be, where you've been, and where you are right now. You know what I mean? Think about what it's going to take to get to where you want to be. That's it. All right, guys, that is it for this video. Oh, and make an inspiration board. But yeah, that's all. Oh, somebody here. All right, I gotta go. Bye.